That's weird. Okay. Did it work? Hello? That was weird. The movie never played. I was like, what the hell's going on here? The movie's not playing. Um, that was an auspicious start to the show. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It's John from Casino Gaming Central here on House Edge Live. So, hey, that was a weird opening. Well, good morning. It's the last day of the ABCs of Gambling. Can you believe it? We did the whole alphabet. Like, I'll do a. Let me. How do I say this right? One of the things I think, hopefully, what you've learned throughout this series, right? And we'll recap again later. But a lot of what we learn in these series is your intentions are never what the goal is, or the goal is never always what you hit at the end, right? I intended to do like fun gambling terms, and it turned out to be this psychological deep dive, which is probably the way that it all should be anyway, right? We talk about the bridge and stuff like that. And what I've discovered as I do all these deep dives, and again, I try and equate things to, to my life, your life, whatever, as we go through it. And one of the things I know about myself is that I have a tough time finishing stuff. I have a really easy time starting things, right? I have a lot of great ideas, super creative person. You may or not know that about me, but I'm very creative. I'm very visionary. That's what I do. I think of great things. And I execute really well when I'm in the moment of executing, but I have a really tough time bringing everything home. Like, it's really hard, right, for whatever reason, to deliver in the end. It's just one of those things where you kind of peter out, you lose interest, whatever. For me, that's the thing. I have to really concentrate on finishing, and it's one of my admissions of my psychology. So, getting to Z is a big deal for me. Like, getting all the way through this thing was huge. Getting through the Gambling 101 to 401 series was huge for me. Like, really locking in and finishing the thing out. So I'm really excited to be here today. I really am. It may not look like it, but I'm like, to me, this is one of those like put it in the ground kind of moments, right? So I'm very happy. So let's say good morning to a couple of people here. I got, oh, look at this. Look at who's here. My good friend Craig. How are you doing, man? I haven't seen you in forever. We haven't talked for a while. Let's get on the phone one of these days, man. I haven't talked to you in a bit. And Bob, I owe you a phone call too. I saw your email yesterday, and I'll get on the phone with you at some point this week when I have some free time. As you know, app building takes a lot of hours and a lot of brain cycles, so I'm a little bit out of it. When this show ends, I literally melt down, and it's anyway. I owe people phone calls. Love y'all. Let's get into it. Here we go. Why am I such a knucklehead? Why am I doing shows like this? Well, I believe, what is happening with my camera? Is my camera just broken? Is that what's happening here? Hold on a second. Is my camera just jacked? What is going on? Hang on a second. I got some problems here. I got a problem. Hold on. Is my camera just failing? No, the camera's here. What is happening with my scenes? Like, all my scenes are wrong. Hold on a second here. Where is the camera? Hold on a second. If I look at this, that camera should be visible, right? There it is. And there that is. Why are and they're upside, and I'm upside down. What the hell's going on here? What is happening? All right, hold on a second, folks. I got to make a change here because everything is crazy town. What is going on? Like, if I go to this one, does it work? Hold on. That one works. Okay, it's the left side camera that's jacked. And the full screen camera was jacked too. What is happening? All right, hold on. Now I got to do some surgery here. Some live surgery for you. Let's go see what happened here. If I go to this side, that works. If I go to this side, it doesn't. All right. Oh my goodness gracious. Now it does work. What the hell? So weird. So weird. Okay, I'm going to go back over to there, full screen. Wow, what a weird deal. Let's try it again. Let's go here. Did it work? It worked. Okay, wow, that was crazy. My buttons just kind of glitched out and nothing worked right. All right. So I gotta go back up a few steps here. Let's go back up to here. Wow, sorry about that, everybody. I have to cut that out when I do the re-edit. But anyway, we're here because see how this works, right? My movie didn't play, buttons are jacked up. Today's a cursed day already. Don't go. Nobody goes to the casino today. All right. We're here because the casinos exist for one reason, that is to take all your damn money, right? Everything that they do is designed to bleed you dry. Give you distractions of music and people and pretty waitresses and no clocks and all the things, right? Plus the table house edge. Plus they get into your head and they find ways to make you not make good decisions, right? I'm here to find a way to help you make a good decision, right? We've identified, with help of David over Casino Quest, the bridge. You know that we have another acronym called FOCUS. That's the same kind of thing. Nothing in the bridge, by the way, except for bankroll, the physical bankroll is a physical thing. These are all mental things, right? How you view and use your bankroll is a thing, right? The amount of it doesn't matter if you use it correctly. If you match it to your risk, which again is a mental thing. Can you identify when it's time to hammer down or time to walk away? Mental thing. Do you have the discipline to make that happen when it's time? Mental thing. Do you set goals and stick to them? Mental thing. And are your emotions in check? Mental. We'll call it mental. All of the bridge concepts, all of the focus concepts are you concepts. It's all about you. Not one of these things has to do with the casino. It's all about how you carry yourself and how you execute when you're in the casino. And in fact, all of these things can speak to how you execute in your life. So for what it's worth, these concepts, I think, go beyond just gambling and they really kind of become part of us. So that said, we're working this great series here called the ABCs of Gambling, and I got the wrong thing. Look at this shit. Can you believe this shit? Hang on a second. I'm gonna fix it. We're gonna go here. We're gonna go here. And why is my camera still there? What is it going on? The cameras. What is going on? I think this camera has to be off. I don't understand what happened today. There we go. That's what you should be seeing. Wow. Sorry about this. I'm telling you what. It's like the gremlins are running the show here today. Yeah, the ABCs of Gambling was a labor of love, and we're going to do this again, by the way. We've decided as a group, and we'll do a little recap show here maybe on Friday. I want to get into the ABCs of craps, the ABCs of blackjack, the ABCs of roulette, the ABCs of poker, maybe, right? The whole point of changing the name of the channel from Pro Craps to Casino Gaming Central was to give me other things to talk about besides just craps. Now, I will do, as a matter of fact, I may do the ABCs of craps strategies at some point, right? And maybe, I'm not sure that there's 26 strategies that I would actually play. So that might be a tough one, but I'm going to try and find 26 crap strategies that I would actually play and highlight the ones that I do. So that'll be kind of fun. Anyway, we're doing the generic ABCs of gambling. And today we find ourselves at the end. We find ourselves today on the letter Z. And we're going to talk about 0 to Zen today. We've been through 26 letters, 26 episodes, math, money, mindset, strategy, psychology, self-knowledge, all of it. And here we are. Comes down to this. We'll talk about the zeros on the roulette wheel, right? We'll talk about pattern systems. We'll clarify who you are playing against when you sit down, getting into the zone, that kind of peak state. And we're going to close out where you should aim to be, which is in a state of Zen. So yeah, that's it. This is the finale. Hopefully I can press the right buttons and sort of make it all count. So let's end the whole thing where casino gambling kind of begins, and that's the roulette wheel. Okay. And we'll start with that little green zero, the little square that looks so innocent, right? It is the source, by the way, of the house edge on the table. It is the entire casino's business model made visible to you. I want you to think about this. I want you to picture a roulette wheel, all the numbers and the green zeros. Okay. Here's the math. Okay. We'll look at we'll take an American double zero wheel first, right? There's 38 spaces on it, right? 1 through 36 and the 2 zeros. The 2 green ones, right? The big giant green. When you bet red, you're not betting really a 50-50 bet. 18 ways to win, 20 ways to lose because you got the two zeros. Those two extra ways to lose, that's the 5.26% house edge on the game. And look at every other bet on that wheel. If you bet one number, my birthday, the 12th, it's 36 numbers on 1 out of 36, but we got the two greens, 1 out of 38 to win, but I get paid 35 to 1. I don't get paid 38 or 37 to 1. I get paid 35 to 1. That is the house edge in plain view. Those two greens screw the wheel and they screw you. And that is exactly how the house edge works. You can see it's the only game you can see the house edge. Literally, you can touch it with your fingers. That's the house edge invisible. It's interesting, isn't it? And the interesting thing is, roulette's a great game, by the way. I love roulette. It's an interesting mathematical game. There's a lot of cool stuff to it. When I did the ABCs of roulette, you'll love it, actually. But here's the thing. Not all the wheels are the same. Okay? And it gets tactical for you, right? There's actually 5 tiers of roulette. And you may encounter all these things. And the difference in what they cost you is massive, okay? And tier 1, right, is 000. And it does exist. It's become prevalent on the strip, okay? Some casinos add the third green, and it has their logo on it, and it's 39 spaces instead of 38, and you're still getting paid 35 to 1, right? That's a complete screw job. The house edge goes to 7.7%. It's highway robbery. And if you see that, run away. Now, what happens with people is, I think, 2 things. One, they don't get it. The novice player looks at that wheel and goes, "Oh, look, the logo's there. It's cool." They don't get that that's a third zero, for one, because the wheel's made in such a way that instead of the zeros being at the top and the bottom, there are 1, 2, 3 side by side. It looks like a pocket you can drop a ball into, so it looks enticing. One's got the logo. It's not labeled 000. So they, again, mental trickery. They fool people into playing this game. Walk away from it. And I will tell you this: casino bosses, you know what they say, and I'm not lying to you here because I've heard this conversation. They say people like it more. They can put a 000 roulette table and a 00 roulette table side by side, and you know what? The 000 gets all the play. How about that? The 000 gets all the play. Now, are they hyping it? Does the table have a bigger sign? Is the layout a little different? Sure. But people flock to 000 because they just don't know better. There's something about the way that thing is marketed that's screwing people out of another 2.5%. It's crazy town, right? Now, your second tier, right? The best game most of us can play is American 00. It's the standard almost everywhere. It's the 38 spaces, the 5.26 house edge. It's what most players in America think roulette is. Okay. It's also the most expensive version you should consider playing. Never play triple, but the ones that we're going to actually play, that's the one you should stop at, right? Don't go any worse than American double. The third tier is American 00. And these do exist, okay? This has 1 green, just 1 0, not 2. There's 37 spaces, not 38, of course. So the house edge falls to 2.7%. That's actually reasonable, right? That's less than half the cost of a 00 machine or a 00 wheel. It's less than the 5 and 9 on craps. Okay. So it's not a terrible bet for those of us who bet, craps numbers, right? What we miss though, is that it's still an American game. Okay. The board's the same. The inside's the same. Everything is the same. The only difference with American single and American double is the removal of 1 0. Everything else on that table works and acts the same. Generally speaking, those tables have higher minimums. You'll find those at like the Palazzo, the Venetian, the Plaza. They're going to be $25 and $50 tables typically, right? It's a better deal mathematically, but you've got to come in with some bank to play it. Okay, the fourth tier is European 00, which is different. It looks like the American game. Same house edge, 2.7. There's no difference there. But the table layout is completely different, and the betting style is different. Okay, European tables allow you to bet what's called the racetrack. And you've seen this thing. It's like an oval-shaped kind of deal above the roulette table. And again, when I do the deep dive on roulette, we'll talk about this. The racetrack allows you to bet parts of the wheel. So in the European game, the difference between Europeans and Americans is Europeans look at the game in sectors. They look at numbers on the wheel like 3, 4, or 5 numbers that are kind of like together on the wheel, or a full quadrant on the wheel, like the full, a full, my hand's right, a full piece of the pie, like a full quarter of the wheel. Europeans like to bet that way. So there are things on the racetrack called neighbor bets. You can cover 2 or 3 numbers on one side, right? You don't bet it on the layout. You bet it on this other thing called the racetrack. They have a thing called the Voisin, which is the neighbors of 0. It covers the 17 numbers surrounding the 0 pocket. That's about a third of the wheel or so with one bet. And again, you don't make that bet. The dealer makes it for you. It's like almost like craps. You give them the money. They put your chip inside the Voisin. The Orphelion, which is covering 8 numbers that the other 2 outside bets miss. Okay. There's another a sort of bet called, I forget what it's called now. Anyway, the racetrack allows you to bet, again, quadrants of the wheel. Then they have a thing called complete bets, which you can give the dealer 1 unit, whatever that is, and it's a complete or full bet on a given number, which would be like, let's say it's like the 22 or something, right? You're betting the 22. You're betting the 2 neighbors next to or the 4 neighbors next to it, the 4 corners that touch it, the 2 and 3 double streets that touch it. Everything that you can get to a number is a complete bet. It ends up being like I think it's 160 units to cover a bet. So a complete bet for $100 is a $2,600 bet. And that's how Europeans play the game. They don't play the dozen like we play it. They're doing a complete bet on a number in the middle of the dozen to kind of cover the entire thing. And it's interesting because that's a way they can exceed table max on the number. Very, very interesting game. European roulette. I watched a guy at Casino Quest teach the game to dealers. The complexity of that game is insanity. It's double what craps is because of the way these bets go. But it matters. It matters. If you can find a European wheel, you can bet differently. You can target the wheel itself, not just numbers, the way that we do in American roulette. So if you can find a European wheel, right? And there are some in Vegas. I know that Bellagio has one. If you can find them and you've got the money to play at that level, it's a whole different game than American roulette. And of course, the 5th tier becomes European with what they call La Partage. It's the Holy Grail bet, right? And you're not going to find that here in the States. But European layouts, there's a special rule that when the ball lands on a 0 and you're betting on the outside, like the red, black, odd, even the 50-50 bets, and the 0 hits, you lose half your bet, but not the whole thing. That drops the house edge on the even money bets to 1.3%. That's blackjack territory. Okay. You may also hear the term imprison, right? Different mechanics, the same game. This used to be the way in Atlantic City, where, again, like with the La Partage, when the 0 hits, you get back your bet, right? You get back half your bet. But with imprison, that doesn't happen. You don't lose the bet. It stays on the table and it's locked. It's almost like a come bet. It's locked for one more spin. You cannot remove the bet. So they will not take the loss on a 0, but you got to leave it out there for the next spin. So you're locked. In the next spin, you get your money back, not your winnings. So if you survive and you land on your color or your high or whatever, you just get your raw bet back. It's interesting, right? You don't lose, but you don't win either. If you lose, they take it all anyway. But it reduces the house edge to 1.3 on those outside bets. It's very interesting. You'll find it's rare, okay? But the Aria, Bellagio, the Cosmo, the Encore, Green Valley Ranch, actually, the Grand, some of these places have single, American single. Some have European single. None of them have that imprisoned bet. But it's interesting if you can find one, maybe when you're on a international trip or something like that. All right. So the action plan is this, right? Before you sit down at a roulette, take a few seconds, count the green pockets. Make sure you're at a double or a single 0. If you're at triple, get out of there. Don't play it. I'd rather you play bubble roulette, honestly, than 000. And bubble roulette's got problems, but it's not the same problem as the 000 machine. And then find out the rules. Is it American or European? Is there a racetrack or not? Right? That little bit of a look at it really changes things. Okay. And just kind of do the math, right? Learn how to do this, right? A $15 bet on a 00 wheel costs you about 80 cents a spin in expected loss. Okay. A $25 bet on a European wheel with that La Partage costs you about 35 cents a spin on the even money bets. Less than half of the cost to play at the higher level. Isn't that interesting? Their business model, we know it's simple, right? Small edge applied millions of times. That's how the casinos do it, right? They don't cheat. They're not rigging it. It's just math. And that green square in the roulette actually is the visible piece of it. I love the fact that when we think about roulette, you can see the house edge literally spinning around. And that should give you, again, the knowledge that you need to kind of go after it. All right. Next up, we have the zigzag pattern systems. Okay. So next to every roulette table and baccarat table, you'll find a scoreboard. We call it the idiot board. It shows the last, 12, 20, 30, whatever spins. Red, black, red, black, red, black. Sometimes it'll show you the odds and evens. On baccarat, it'll show you the player banker tie. It'll show you sometimes the card, the scorecard. That scoreboard has one job, and that's making you see patterns. That's all that it's for. Okay, 3 blacks in a row. You're like, red is due, or it's alternating. Let's ride the chop. Let's get the zigzag, right? 7 reds in a row never happens. It's got to turn sooner or later, right? All that we know. Hopefully you've learned from me repeating this every freaking show is bullshit. None of it is real. Okay. What are the odds of getting 7 reds in a row? Every spin, red, 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 has an 18 out of 38 chance. If you multiply 18 out of 36 7 times, it's about 1 in 187. It sounds rare. Kind of is, right? Now, what are the odds of getting red, black, red, black, red, black, red, black 7 times, right? A 7 series. What's the odds of that? Guess what? It's the same. The odds of getting red followed by black is the same as the odds of red followed by red. It doesn't even change. They're both 1 in 187. It doesn't matter. What about red, 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 black, 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 red? Guess what? It's the same odds. There's no difference in any of those patterns coming. None, no difference. The math doesn't change with the color, right? We like to see the colors, but they all have the same probability, right? Every specific 7 spin sequence or every 7 hands of baccarat is the same. There's no difference in probability. What pattern? Your brain is screaming to you, red, 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 right? That's crazy to you, right? But red, red, black, black, red seems normal. They're the same. There's no difference mathematically speaking. You could just bet whatever pattern you decide. Martingale it up and you'd be in the exact same spot. It wouldn't matter. This is why, by the way, all these people and there's books that are selling baccarat pattern systems and roulette it's all horseshit. It all fails because the math is complicated. Your brain lies to you. It's called apophenia, right? The tendency to perceive meaningful connections in random data. It's a survival mechanism we got from evolution, right? It's good for spotting snakes in the grass. It's not good at the casino. Okay. You're not, by the way, a dumbass because you see streaks. You're human. It's what happens, right? When you act on that, it costs you money. Okay. I bet streaks and you know this, but I don't go, "Ooh, it's red. It's going to be red." I just bet what I see, what just happened because it's easy for me. I just bet what came because it's simple. And because I know streaks form, I'm just hoping that one forms while I'm betting on it. That's all you can really do. You cannot try and predict this stuff. I'm sorry to tell you the truth. And streaks aren't rare, by the way. On a busy roulette table, 35, 40 spins an hour, 10-hour day, 350 spins, there's hundreds of overlapping 7-spin sequences. The 7-spin red doesn't happen once a year, man. It happens a Tuesday. It happens 4 or 5 times on a Tuesday. You just hope you're there when it is, right? After 6 reds in a row, the probability of the next one being red is still the same. Doesn't change. Okay? The wheel doesn't know about the streak. It doesn't know anything. You look at the way the wheel is composed, it's red, black, red, black, red, black around the whole wheel. The ball is going to dink and dunk and bounce around and land where it's going to freaking land. You got to know that. But what do you do with it? First thing, ignore the scoreboard entirely. Don't worry about it. Every second you spend analyzing that damn thing is time spent on information that has no value to you. It's there to trick you. It's there to get you juiced up to make a bad decision. It's a tool for them, not for you. Second, make your betting decision before you sit down. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go 1, 3, 2, 4 on the outside bets. Bet what came last. Period. End of story. Done. That's it. It's either my day or it's not. I catch a streak or I don't. Okay. And you write it down if you can. Okay. And that applies beyond roulette, obviously, right? We talk about roulette because it's easy to visualize, but the hot shooter, the number that's coming, the baccarat thing, right? The baccarat patterns, the blackjack, it's all the same. It's all the same. Nothing, there's no pattern to any of it. Your brain just trying to make sense of what it sees, and you cannot get sucked into that. Every specific sequence is equally likely to happen. Okay. Your brain just finds a way to categorize it so it can understand what it saw. That's it. You're trying to and you get yourself in a centered point. That's what your brain's doing. It's there to exploit you. To exploit that, you got to ignore it. All right, next up. Next up is zero sum. This is interesting. I use this analogy when I talk about economics. I love economics, by the way. People talk about, and I'll give you a quick little political rant here, right? People talk about the rich and the poor in this country and opportunity and blah, blah, blah. There is, by the way, unlimited money. Okay. There's no reason everybody can't make all the money. There's not like a limited pool of dollars that the United States has and it gets passed around. And sometimes I have it and you don't. There's not a world that exists where not everybody can have all of it, right? There's unlimited money. Think about that at the casino. When you win at blackjack, where does the money come from? It comes from the casino. When you win at poker, though, it comes from other players. That's a distinction that kind of envelops what I just said. At a casino game, like in America, right? In the casino, you're playing against a limitless bankroll. In America, we're working with limitless funds. The hottest streak of your life, the best job, whatever you got, right? If you went on that hand after hand, the casino wouldn't give two shits. I mean, they would, but they wouldn't blink. They have enough money to cover you. It's unlimited money. You can win all day long, and they just keep on dealing because their vault can absorb it. We have unlimited money here too. Okay. For you, right? Or from the thousands of people behind you, you don't care because you're fighting against an ocean. You got a glass and you're fighting the ocean. That's how the casino sees you. Okay. The poker table, though, right, is what a lot of people view the American economy as. The poker table is a closed ecosystem. It's a closed microeconomy. The money on that table is all the money that's there. It's the 8 people that bought in or the 7 people that bought in. That's the pool of money. That pool of money does shift around. There's no more money to come from the house. There's no more, unless somebody buys in for more. That's it. It's a closed system. It's a closed loop. It shifts. It stretches. One player has a chunk, somebody else shrinks down. The total math or the total mass of money never grows. It shrinks because of the rake, but it never grows because, we're always siphoning off a little bit. Now, when somebody leaves the table, that pool of money gets smaller, of course, right? When somebody buys in, it grows, but it's always a zero-sum game. It's what's there. That's a difference. At a casino table, the house edge will grind your ass down. At a poker table, money moves between people. That limited sum of money, again, shrinks and it grows between players at the table. The game itself doesn't generate money. The game of poker redistributes money. And again, I think if you look at the casino and a poker game and equate that to the economy, it's a very interesting comparison. So what do you do with that information? Well, first, be honest about the game you're playing. If you're playing a casino game, stop thinking about beating the casino because you're not going to do it. You're going to manage the negative expectation. You're going to try your best to achieve profit. Your goal is to minimize that edge, extend your bankroll, enjoy the experience. It's not defeatist. It's accurate. It's what you should be doing. Second, you want to be a long-term winner? Find a zero-sum game. Poker, sports betting, where the games where skill can flip the equation. And being in a zero-sum game doesn't mean you're on the winning side. It just means that you're better than most players if you're winning that way, right? You're the food source. Nobody's absorbing you, right? And third, choose your opponents, not just the game. In a poker game, table selection is huge, right? A great player at a table of great players grinds out an edge, right? A good player at a table of drunk tourists is going to be printing money, right? You're not looking for the best game. You're looking for the softest table. And it's a big difference there between the casino, because the casino has no soft tables, okay? And of course, respect the rake. The house takes that cut of every pot. It's capped usually at a full table, right? It could be $100 an hour or more, right? That money's gone. It doesn't get redistributed. It just vanishes. Okay, so the rake is their version of a green zero, effectively, right? If you're playing a break-even game or a break-even player before the rake, if you are a break-even player, before the rake, then you're a losing player after it. So know who loses when you win. At the casino games, you're fighting again. You're bringing a glass of water to the ocean and trying to empty it out. That's why risk of ruin is real. You'll never win that game. At a poker, you're fighting people for a limited pool of money. And people make mistakes. Casinos never make mistakes. So just make sure that you're the one exploiting mistakes, not the one making the mistakes. And that's kind of I think a big, that's why I don't play poker, because I'd make a million mistakes. I would be the world's worst poker player. All right. I think we have one more. I gotta flip to here actually. Let's talk about getting in the zone. And we've all hopefully been there, right? I think it's funny. Every craps player talks about being in the zone, and they always talk about it as their first thing. Like, I almost never hear when we interview gamblers, right? And I've interviewed a ton of them. I've interviewed myself. When they tell their origin story, why'd you get in the craps? Well, the first time I ever played, I won a bunch of money. Everybody has that same. Isn't it true? We all have that same story. Everybody has the same story. It's the zone. And when you're there, it's like, if you don't know what you're doing, you're riding luck, right? But if you're a seasoned player and you're in the zone, you know how it is, right? Decisions just come. Everything's automatic. Your hands are moving. You got your bets called out. The guy next to you is talking about whatever. You don't hear a thing, right? Look at your phone. 2 hours went by, right? Athletes call it flow. Gamblers call it the zone. And when it happens, right, it's the best you'll ever play. It's the best story you'll ever tell, right? But let's be precise about what best really means, okay? So at a negative EV game like blackjack and craps and roulette, the zone doesn't change the math, right? The zone is, right, being awake in the variant. That's how I would describe that, right? The zone, when you're awake in the variant, you make no mistakes, right? A blackjack player in the zone, perfect strategy, never thinks about it, has the count down cold, and the cards are coming and matching the count, right? A player who's tired or a couple drinks in misses some stuff, right? Splits the fives. I've done this, right? Because I wasn't thinking. Botching the soft hands, playing sloppily, right? You kill your edge, right? In the zone, doesn't mean you're going to be a winner, right? But it does stop you from being the biggest loser, okay? In poker, the zone will make you money because you're playing people, not math, right? Your sharper reads, your better adjustments, you're quicker, you're not leaking it out, right? You can exploit better. The zone is where a poker profit can live, right? But it has a dark side as well, right? Because the distortion of time when you're in the zone, you'll blow past your limits, of course, right? Your 90-minute rule. You plan for an hour and a half, you're out there for 3, and all of a sudden 5 goes by, right? You get overconfident because you're clicking. You get creative and you do dumb shit, fancy bluffs, or you're oversizing your bets, or you press an extra because you feel it. That's not the zone anymore, right? That's ego wearing the costume of the zone, right? If you're not in the zone, you're fine, right? Most sessions you play normal, right? You don't get there very often, but making good decisions and no major errors, but you have to think about it, is not the zone. Making those same decisions when you're just kind of in the flow, that's the ceiling, okay? What kills it? Alcohol will kill it, right? Even 1 or 2 drinks will kill it, right? Fatigue will kill the zone. 6 hours in, you're losing your flow. Emotional baggage, right? We talk about bringing your mental bullshit with you, right? May kill a zone. Playing above your skill level, right? Flow requires competence. If you're struggling to remember your basic stuff and you're efforting instead of zoning, it's the opposite, okay? What creates those conditions? Rest, sleep, being fed, being well hydrated. It all sounds like normal, basic, right? Most people ignore that stuff, but you shouldn't. Be clear before you sit down, right? Master your fundamentals of your games you're playing. Play at the right stakes, not so low that you're bored, not so high that you're scared. And before every session, do your checklist, right? Am I rested? Am I sober? Am I clear? Do I have a plan? Are my fundamentals solid? If you're answering no, right, walk. Okay. If the zone does show up, set an alarm. Like seriously, like your phone's got a timer. The zone will lie to you about how long you've been playing, right? Something you might need something real, like tangible to pull you back. And the zone though, when you're there, it's where the hard work pays off, right? It's not magic, right? At a table game, it's protect your bankroll. At poker, it builds it up. Either way, respect the zone. Be happy that you're there when it happens for you. But don't let it keep you in the chair longer than you need to be. All right. Again, I think the zone, you can look at it as your ceiling, not your floor. At a table game, it'll help you avoid mistakes. At a poker game, it'll make you money. Either way, don't trust it. Set an alarm and get out when it gets good. All righty, last one. The last one. Are you ready for this? It dovetails with zone, and it's Zen. Okay, Zen is something harder than the zone. The zone is like peak performance. Zen is emotional equilibrium, regardless of your performance, right? You can be in the zone and winning, and that's easy. You can be in the zone and getting your ass kicked. It happens, right? Again, zone is not about winning. Zone is about where you are. Zen is making the correct play when you're still down and you're still okay with it, right? You can be in the zone and win. Zen keeps you centered during the process, right? Discipline is walking away, right? When you're at your stop loss or your win zone or your win goal. When the voice in your head is screaming at you, chase that loss or keep going. Zen is the absence of the voice. Okay? Discipline is the voice, right? The world, the distractions are the voice telling you, stay, keep playing. You're on a hot streak. Zen, no voice. That's the difference, right? Your discipline, which you should have built up a muscle for, is fighting your impulses. Okay? Zen is no longer having the impulse. Okay? Discipline you need to fight the impulse. Zen, when you're there, you don't have that voice yelling at you. It's not pulling you away. Zen is right here. Okay? It's the absence of the impulse. And it's a really tough place to be. And I like to say I find myself there most of the time. I don't. I'm shooting for this, right? But I get distracted very easily. I think a lot of us do. So work towards getting centered. Okay? And there it is. We've done 25 letters. We've covered everything: math, strategy, bankroll, psychology, self-knowledge, discipline, and Zen holds it all together for us. It's the thing that kind of brings it all in, or without it, we fall apart, because that's what happens at the casino. You can learn basic strategy and then abandon it when you're losing because it wasn't working that day. Switch to no bust strategy. I've seen people switch from basic to no bust because they're getting pissed off at blackjack, right? You set a bankroll and then you go to the ATM machine because you're due. You create a stop loss and you blow through it because you feel the turns coming, right? Every one of those things is an emotional failure. The knowledge is there. Your discipline muscle is there, but your emotions are eroding it. They're screaming at you. Zen stops it from happening. What does it look like? Well, when you're making the same decisions when you're up or down, and when the bet sizing doesn't change based on what just happened emotionally, right? You experience variance as data, not a commentary on your life. A losing streak isn't like you're being punished. A winning streak isn't a reward. It's just what happened that day. And you kind of walk through your life and go, oh, that's what it was today. Okay? Winners or wins don't create this euphoric state, and losses don't create despair. Okay? I think James Newberry said this one time. I'm going to give him credit for this, but somebody else may have said it. None of your wins or losses should be life-changing. It's nice to get one every so often, hit a big ass jackpot or have an enormous run at craps, but that shouldn't change your life, right? It should be a great story. That's Zen to me. Okay. When you're engaged with the process, but detached from the outcomes, that's a state of Zen. It's not apathy, by the way. You do care about playing well. You do care about the long-term results. You do care about the wins, but I refuse to let a single session hijack my behavior. Okay. It's not about suppressing things either. stuffing your emotions down, like, your counselors would love you for that, right? Zen it's a pressure cooker, right? Real Zen means you've internalized it all. The short-term outcomes are noise. You're silencing the voice, right? The voice just has nothing to say. You follow me? Like, you're not trying to push it down. It just doesn't exist. That's what Zen means, right? And how do you build towards it? Well, one, you master the math, right? Understand the EV, the variance, right? How bad results start stopping to become personal to you, and the wins stop becoming personal, right? There's a short end, right, of that distribution that you've kind of predicted already, right? Tracking your play, data kills emotion, right? Spreadsheets, tracking sessions, right? All of that puts it away, and you can just go, okay, this is what it is, right? If you have rules, remember we talked about rules yesterday, right? Rules that have declarations, they have periods with them. You hit your stop loss and you stop. You hit your time limit and you stop. You don't negotiate anymore. You're just there. You're training your Zen. It's just muscle, right? And those reps matter. Start small. You're not going to find Zen, by the way, at $100 table if you've never practiced it with $10. That's why I want you to do these small money challenges to build up the muscle without a lot of risk, right? Control your emotional scales with the stakes. Building foundations where money doesn't matter. That's an important part of it, right? Most of us won't live in that place permanently, by the way. It's not like it's an address. It's in a place you visit. Like it's like a vacation spot. The more older you get, the bigger your retirement fund is. You'll visit that place more often. The more experience you gain. You'll still feel the pull after a bad beat, but the goal is to become a robot, or not to become a robot, rather. The goal is to stop the feelings from making the decisions for you. That's where this series has kind of been leading to all along, right? Not to beat the casino. For most of us, that's not realistic, right? The goal is to play well, enjoy the experience, walk with more profit for sure, sustain this hobby for decades without it causing damage to your life, right? The math doesn't care about your feelings, but you can choose whether your feelings control your actions, and that's Zen. Zen is silence. It is silencing the noise so you can just execute and enjoy the moment that you're in, okay? Again, discipline is fighting the voice. Zen is the absence of the voice. And it's where everything becomes automatic. And that's our destination here. So, yeah, that is the letter Z, folks. That's it. We're done. The series is over. We have arrived. Let's summarize it. The casino's got this mathematical edge. It always has and it always will. The green zero is the visible representation of the house edge. Okay? It explains everything about how they make money. It's a small tax applied a billion times. Okay? Pattern systems can't beat it. You can't zigzag around. Your feelings can't beat it. What you can do is play well. Choose the right wheel. Choose the right game for you. Ignore the scoreboards. Ignore the noise. Know whether you're fighting math or fighting people. Show up rested, prepared, and clear-headed. Build rules and honor them. And aim for that state, that Zen state where the voice in your head doesn't exist. You're not fighting the voice. It just isn't there. That's the piece, right? That's your goal. Not to quote unquote beat the casino, because you can't. The goal is to play well, enjoy the experience, walk away with profit more often than not, sustain it for decades, and have it not damage your life. I hope that the series gave you some tools and that you've got some work to do. Okay. And yeah, 26 letters, man. I hope that it all changed one thing about how everybody thinks. That would be my goal. If everybody got one thing out of this, that'd be awesome. Right. I don't know that that's happened, but I certainly hope so. And again, we're getting no camera on this screen. What the hell is happening with my screens here? It's like this. Nope. Why is it? I don't understand what's happening here. My camera, my camera modes here are, just go here and go here. What is happening? Keynote only. This one should show my camera. It's so weird that scene is not working. How about if I go here? Does that one show it? That one kind of shows it. All right, I'm going to go back. I don't know what the hell's happening here. Let's go back a screen. There's something wrong with my box. I don't know what it is. But I want to get the questions and answers. So let me go check the check the chats here for cues. Oh wow, lots of questions today. Let's see. No dates yet for Craps for the Cure. I'm not even sure I'm doing it this year, frankly. Last year took so much out of me. I still have to cover $2,500 for the felts, and right, so I'm still behind on it. It was such a toll last year. So I'm not sure when it's going to be or when I'm doing it or if I'm doing it yet. I'll keep you all in a loop though, for sure. Let's see. Kevin Farm would love to hear my crap strategies. Somebody else asked this too, about my top 5 ways to play or the ways I actually play. I will do a series of the actual ways that I play craps. And there's only about 5 or 6 ways that I really play. If I did a 26 A to Z strategy system for craps, some of those would be with the caveat that I don't play this way or don't play that way anymore. So, yeah, I will do the series though, for sure. Been on red this week for the Chinese New Year vibe. There you go. Isn't it the year of the horse? Is that right? Did I cover randomness? I did cover randomness. We talk about randomness all the time, Chuck. And really, because everything is random, I think that people forget about that. We talked about risk of ruin a lot in letter R. But yeah, we talked about every result being independent. I think we did it under I for the most part, where every result in every game is independent. And I actually watched a video last night on Blackjack. If you guys watch Blackjack Apprentice, great channel, by the way. This is an older video of theirs, but the way that he explained blackjack hands was fascinating to me. And it's basically, he's like, picture a, what do you call it? A snack machine, a vending machine. You have, candy, all these different candy, Doritos, and all kind of shit, right? And sometimes in the snack machine is, a jar of pickled eggs or some nasty liver or something like that, right? And you put your money in the machine, and sometimes you get a Hershey bar, and sometimes you get pickled eggs, right? But those slots are preloaded. The slots are preloaded. You don't know what you're going to get. When you shuffle a shoe in blackjack or baccarat, those outcomes are already determined. Baccarat especially, the whole thing is already, the whole shoe is that vending machine, and you're just on every hand picking the next thing out of the column. You don't know if it's going to be a win or a loss for you. The shoe already knows it. That's a way to look at randomness. It just, things are what they are, and you can't do anything to change that. And so it's an important thing. Randomness is the realest thing ever. Let's see. Am I ruining the fun by telling us everything is random? Yes, I am. Like telling your 5-year-old Santa isn't real. Superstitions are fine. You can if it enhances your experience to take a bet off when you, whatever. I can't make you not do that. And I probably am ruining the fun, but I look at it like this. To me, it unlocked it for me. And I still am searching for the best way to play craps and the best ways to play roulette that are, to me, safe, longevity, profitable, that kind of thing. But honestly, when you come to terms with the fact that it's all random, that you can't really beat it, that the house set is bleed you dry, what it does to me is it kind of, it's like the burden goes away. You don't have to keep fighting it. Like, not that you're succumbing to defeat, but you understand the reality that you're in. And when you understand your reality, you can make different decisions and you can change your reality to some degree. You can push against the edges better than if you're just, trying to fight a losing battle, right? Look at Vietnam. You cannot run up hills screaming and yelling and hope to win that way. You just can't fight the battle that way. Look at how we're fighting battles now. It's different. Things change. And even though the end of a war or a battle is probably the same result, the pathway to getting there is way different now. I think that's how I look at casino gambling. That's when I understand how randomness and variance work, that's the big change for me. So thank you, Kevin. I really appreciate that, hearing it from you. It is a labor of love. And we'll talk tomorrow. So what I want to do here today is give you the kind of the go forward plan for tomorrow. So tomorrow and Friday, we'll do a little bit of recapping. I'd like you to come armed with your thoughts on the series, how we can make the next couple series better. And we'll just have kind of an open chat dialogue all day the next couple of days. I want to make sure the next series rocks. So with that said, everybody, happy hump day. I'll see you tomorrow. Again, appreciate your time. Love y'all. God bless you, and later.